what you wanna do. I can't tell you who to sock it to. It's your thing.
Hello, Jeff Southern from Kennesaw here. I am going to give you an update on my Volkswagen Thing project. If those of you that have been following the blog will know that I damaged the transaxle in the car, and this is the actual results of that damage. As you can see, I've got about 1 and maybe an eighth of a tooth left on first gear. This is a cast gear, something you guys might want to be aware of. The stock gears are cast. When I had it rebuilt, I had them rebuild it with a steel gear, which is much, much stronger. So you might want to consider that, especially for the lower gears, maybe first and second. When you're building a transaxle, go ahead and have them put the steel gears in it. It's often referred to as a racing Volkswagen transaxle. Just may save you a little grief. In my case, it'll save you grief and a month's worth of downtime. I'm going to show you a video now of some of the modifications I've done to the little 4-inch color display in the dash. I think you'll like these little modifications to the car.
I thought I'd give you an update on the some of the things I've been doing to the display system. Very important thing is I managed to get my screensaver icon changed so that it looks like a Volkswagen Thing. Been doing a little bit of work to the graphics. Added a new battery indicator. Just gives me a bar graph. Kind of looks nice. Let's see, what else have I got going on here? I also changed the push buttons. As you can see, they look like actual icons now. I can get the phone to focus here. There we go. You can touch the forward and reverse. And for example, you can turn the main contactor on and off. Turn the main fan on the heatsink on and off. Things like that, or you can enable 120 volt charging. I just wanted to kind of show you some of the nice graphics you can put in these type of displays. Updated my trend graph a little bit, so it shows me the trend. The car is currently charging right now, so you can see the amp draw is positive, so that means there's a, and it's also green. It changes to red and negative when it's pulling energy out of the pack. We're getting close to the end of our charge, and I actually terminate the charge at 124 volts, so we're probably just a few seconds away from actually shutting off the charger. This will give you an idea of how accurate it is. I had pulled about approximately 80 amp hours out of the pack, and I'm putting them back in. It looks like I'm going to be a little bit short. There, it just kicked off the charger, so I was 0.8 amp hours short in my measurement from 80 amp hours out to 80 amp hours worth of charging back in the phone.
The segment I'm going to show you next is how I did the audio control systems in the car. This is kind of a different way of looking at the audio system in an EV, and it's very power efficient. I think many of you might like this setup for your car.
Yeah, here's my latest work on the car. I've made me an input for all my audio controls. I've got a volume control. I've got a 3.5 millimeter auxiliary input. This is a little Bluetooth adapter, and then of course just an on-off switch for the stereo system. What this does, it just loops the Bluetooth back into the audio. I need to make me a little short piece of cable rather than this longer one to do that with. Just bent a piece of steel, painted it, formed it to fit the dash, and bolted it in place. What it actually controls is this little amplifier down here. This amplifier is, they claim it's 100 watt. It's one of those weird things from Japan. It's probably really more like 45, 50 watt amplifier. It controls the 4 speakers. Got 2 up under the dash, and then have 2 in the back of the car. Nice thing about it for the Thing, these are waterproof speakers. They're actually made for bolts from Pile Audio. They're very inexpensive. These speakers are $20 a pair, and then the little amplifier is about 25 bucks, and then the Bluetooth adapter is about 60. So I'll probably have around 100 bucks in the whole thing, with everything included in it. You can see the dash, the little screensaver car. The car is charging right now. We're about 75% complete. We're charging at about 19.6 amps, up to about 120 volts. just to give you a little update on something I've been working on in the car, something I've been wanting to get done for a while.
Next, I'm going to show you a very nice little tool to seat your flywheel in a Volkswagen application. I think everybody that's a tool whore like myself is going to like this little tool.
I'm about to install the new flywheel. Just had this one. This is one of the Lighten flywheels. I had it balanced. I was showing you kind of a neat tool that I have here. It's a torque tool to torque the flywheel nut. It just rotates around the gear in the flywheel, and it's exactly 9-to-1. So typically you torque these to about 260 foot-pounds, so that'll be 29 foot-pounds on the torque wrench. So I only have to pull down 29 foot-pounds in order to seat the flywheel with this tool. One thing that's really nice about this tool is it also has a adapter plate that allows you to torque the 36mm bolt on your rear hubs. You can lock this into place, and you can use this to torque down the 36mm hole in the back. I'm going to go ahead and torque this down and be one step closer to getting the engine back in the car. Well, as you can see, I've got the flywheel torqued. I've checked it for run out using a dial indicator. So I just used the dial indicator, put it on here and check the run out up and down, the radial run out, and then check the lateral run out. It only had 3 thous run out, which is excellent for a VW flywheel. I think they allow up to 11 thousandths of that type of run out. I did have the flywheel and the pressure plate balanced. That's why the paint's on here. This is the location where the flywheel and the pressure plate were balanced. They were fully zero balanced, so should get a nice smooth operation. Now it's just a matter of tightening the nuts down, and you should always tighten them in cross patterns, of course. You don't want to over torque one side and not the other, because you can bend the pressure plate. So that's just, you just work it around and then eventually torque them to 18 foot-pounds.
Okay, now you get to see what I discovered when I replaced the front steering box.
Hi guys, I thought I'd let you see something I discovered. I replaced the steering box in the thing. So as you can see down here, I got a brand new steering box, brand new coupler on the steering column. The tie rods on the outer part of the car are actually brand new, but the ones on the inner car, unfortunately, as you can see some motion in here. If you can see the tie rod on the right is not moving, and the pitman arm from the steering box is moving. So this tie rod here, if you'll notice, was the one that has a lot of slop in it. That means that the hole in the pitman arm is wore out, and probably these two tie rods are wore out. Unfortunately, some idiot welded the bottom nut onto this tie rod, so I'm actually going to have to cut the tie rod off right here. I've got to replace the end anyway, but to be able to even get it out, and I bought a new pitman arm because I'm sure that hole is completely wallered out. Could be repaired, but a new pitman arm is only about 45 bucks. So going to have a really nice steering. As you can see, that's a lot of movement in that pitman arm with the tie rod not moving. So one more thing I discovered when I was replacing the steering box. Why they replaced the outer tie rods and not the inner, I'm suspecting it's because the pitman arm was wore out, and they just tried to fix it by welding it up, which was idiotic, because you can't really weld a forged part like that to a steel part anyway.
Well, that's about it from Kennesaw here. Everything's back together. The car's running great. Had an idea to do a time-lapse video, kind of like Anna did, repairing the Volkswagen Bug. Set the camera up on a tripod, tested it, made sure everything was working perfect, and I forgot one small little detail. I forgot to turn the camera on. Several hours later, I had everything in the car aligned, torqued down, working properly. And I love you guys, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to take it apart just so I can film putting it back together. You'll just have to take my word for it that it's reinstalled in the car. For those of you that are interested, the rust you saw up under the gas tank area where the tie rods and the steering system is, I did run that down with a wire brush and hit it with Rust-Oleum flat black. As Jack says, paint it black, it disappears. Really don't care what it looks like under there. I just did a little rust control. Really enjoy driving the car. Just can't tell you how much fun it is. I've probably done this type of work most of my life. I've worked on cars and other types of machinery and mechanics all my life. I have never had this much fun with a car. I've owned very high performance sports cars. Nothing even comes close to comparing to how much fun this is. So if you want to spend some of your money and have some fun doing it, short of doing anything illegal, I think this is probably the most fun you can have. Just highly recommend. Go ahead, do it. Nothing's all that complicated. For the small parts that are complicated, you contact me and I'll be happy to help you out. I'm sure a local machine shop or in a lot of local tech schools and stuff will be more than happy to help you out. There's ways of getting all this done fairly inexpensively, and you can do this, and you're going to enjoy it so much. There's a little bit of pride in telling somebody that, yes, I converted this car to electric drive. I admit it. It's kind of a kick to hear people talk about it. So if I don't see anybody and through the holidays, the weather's turning a little south here. So my next project is going to be a heating system for the car. Kind of one thing I omitted. Just ordered a heater element from EVThing. Kind of like their little kits because it comes with the contactor and everything. So if I don't see anybody or talk to anybody or email to anybody, have a great Thanksgiving, have a great holidays, and hopefully you'll see a couple more videos from me. Unfortunately, I think this is about as good a quality as you're going to get. I'm just pretty lazy and just not going to do the videos quite like Jehu Garcia and a few of the other guys. So have a great holidays.